State of the Union address to the European Union in Strasbourg, the European Union Commission President said that when United States, the EU was a force to be reckoned with. Still on the EU now, European Commission head Jean-Claude Juncker on Wednesday renewed the pledge of close trade and security ties with Britain after Brexit, but said the European Union would not compromise on key withdrawal terms. Delivering his annual State of the Union speech to the European Parliament, Juncker said the EU will not allow Britain to participate only in some parts of the bloc's single market after Brexit without honouring all of the rules. The European Union proposed fining groups that misuse voters' data to sway elections on Wednesday as it seeks to guard against a repeat of the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal, especially in an EU Parliament vote next May. EU regulators have sought more powers to protect against privacy breaches since the data of millions of EU citizens were among those used by the British political consultancy to build profiles on voters and influence the US presidential election in 2016. The proposal comes amid concerns that anti-EU parties or malign foreign actors will target the election to the EU legislature next year. Still on the European Union now, the EU Commission will get tough with European Union countries that do not respect the rule of law, Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker said on Wednesday, amid concerns that Poland and Hungary do not observe EU democratic principles. The Commission has already started a rule of law procedure called Article 7 against Poland because of concerns over the independence of the country's judiciary. It could ultimately end up suspending Warsaw's right to vote in the EU. The European Union Parliament will vote later whether to start the same process against Hungary. And from EU now to bilateral ties, where United Nations listed 38 shameful countries, including China and Russia, on Wednesday, which it said had carried out reprisals on or intimidation against people cooperating with it on human rights through killings, tortures, and arbitrary arrests. The annual report from the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also included allegations of ill treatment, surveillance, criminalization, and public stigmatization campaigns targeting victims and human rights defenders. The 38 countries included 29 countries with new cases and 19 with ongoing and continuing cases. A group of about 50 lawmakers in British Prime Minister Theresa May's government who oppose her proposal for a post-Brexit deal with the European Union have met to discuss how and when they could force her out of her job. The lawmakers, part of the European Research Group, ERG, an anti-EU grouping in May's Conservative Party, met on Tuesday night and openly discussed May's future as a leader. A number of the meetings said they had already submitted letters of no confidence in May. Under the Conservative rules, the leadership election is triggered if 15% of the Conservative lawmakers, currently 48 out of its 315 members of Parliament, demand a vote of no confidence. It's PTV World Desk. More stories after the break.
Soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislators.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely
from this interview, because you have
There had hardly been any administration.
no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Welcome back to PTV World Desk. Now, President Vladimir Putin said on Wednesday that Russia knew the real identity of two men accused by British prosecutors of trying to murder former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia in Britain. British prosecutors last week identified two Russians who they said were operating under aliases Alexander Petrov and Ruslan Bushirov, who they said have tried to murder the Skripals with a military-grade nerve agent in England. Putin, speaking at an economic forum in the Russian port city of Vladivostok, said Russia had found the two men, that they were civilians and there was nothing special or criminal about them, and that he hoped they would come forward and tell the world their own story. And Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Wednesday that he was not joking when he proposed that he and the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe sign a peace treaty by the end of the year. Russia and Japan are in dispute over a chain of Pacific islands and as a result have still not formally ended their World War II hostilities. Sitting alongside Abe at an economic forum in the Russian Far East, Putin proposed concluding an unconditional peace treaty by the end of the year. Abe did not give a response. Now, China said on Wednesday that it resolutely opposes the United States using Xinjiang's issue to interface in its internal affairs as the Trump administration considers sanctions against Chinese officials and companies linked to allegations of human rights abuses in the region. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Geng Shuang made the comment at a daily news briefing in Beijing. Still, Russia's president now, Vladimir Putin, is sitting on a stage alongside Japanese President Shinzo Abe, proposed on Wednesday that the two men sign a peace treaty by the end of the year. The two countries are in dispute over a chain of Pacific islands and as a result have still not formally ended their World War II hostilities. Australia's centre-right government will face a by-election in the post-Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's seat on October 20th and could lose its parliamentary majority if voter anger in opinion poll is carried through to the ballot box. The by-election was announced on Wednesday following Turnbull's resignation from Parliament last month after he was ousted in a party room revolt that ushered in Scott Morrison as the new Prime Minister. It was the fifth change in Prime Minister since 2010, only one of which has been chosen at an election. Japanese have long been conditioned to prepare for earthquakes, but recent powerful typhoons and sudden heavy rains have brought to the forefront another kind of disaster, flooding. Experts warn that thousands could die, as many as 5 million people could need to be evacuated if massive dikes and levees in low-lying eastern Tokyo are overwhelmed by surging floodwaters. The cities of Osaka and Nagoya also face flood risk, experts say, amid an increase in sudden heavy rainfall across the country in recent years, a global symptom linked to global warming. Japan wants the return of Ireland captured by Russia in World War II before it signs a peace treaty, the Japanese government spokesman said on Wednesday, after Russian President Vladimir Putin suggested Japan agree to an unconditional peace treaty. Putin made the suggestions to Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe at a question-and-answer session at the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok. The disputed Pacific Islands are known as the Kuriles in Russia and the Northern Territories in Japan. In Germany now, Chancellor Angela Merkel said on Wednesday, Germany could not simply look away if chemical attacks took place 2 days after the German government said it was in talks with its allies about a possible military deployment in Syria. Merkel also said it could not be Germany's answer to such attacks to simply say no from the onset. Iran has between 3,000 to 4,000 active centrifuges, Parliament Speaker Ali Larijani said Wednesday, according to the Tasnim news agency, still within the limits allowed under its troubled nuclear deal with world powers. The rare announcement of specific data on the nuclear program came days after Iran's nuclear chief said it had completed a facility to build advanced centrifuges. Tehran has said it will increase its capacity to enrich uranium if the nuclear pact collapses, following Washington's withdrawal in May. Under the terms of the 2015 deal, Iran agreed to curb its nuclear programs in exchange for sanctions relief. And in Singapore now, Singapore DJ has filed a court challenge against a colonial-era law that bans gay sex in the conservative city-state. His lawyer said on Wednesday, scrapping of similar legislation. Johnson Ong Ming, 43, also known as DJ Big Kid, filed his challenge with the High Court on Monday. His lawyers told journalists just 4 days after India's landmark ruling. Under Section 377A of Singapore's Penal Code, a man found to have committed an act of gross indecency with another man could be jailed for up to 2 years. Although prosecutors are rare, the law does not apply to homosexual acts between women. It's still PTV World Desk, business and sports after the break. Going away.
African soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislators.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law. I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have
There had hardly been any administration.
no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news, analysis, and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Welcome back. Now to business. After months of waging a behind-the-scene war against President Donald Trump's trade tariff that have escalated far beyond what business groups once imagined, more than 60 U.S. industry groups are launching a coalition Wednesday to take the fight public. Emergence of the group Americans for Free Trade comes after Trump has warmed to the use of tariffs, implementing billions of dollars worth in an effort to use them as threats to win concessions or in the belief they will create U.S. jobs. Trump has imposed 25% tariff on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods, mostly industrial machines and intermediate electronics, parts of such as semiconductors. A pending $200 billion list would extend further into consumer goods, and the threat of an additional $267 billion would basically cover every Chinese export to the United States. China has threatened retaliation, which could include sanctions against U.S. companies operating there. The German Consumer Protection Organization VZBV on Wednesday said it would file a class action lawsuit against Volkswagen on November the 1st. The suit will concern Volkswagen's vehicles with diesel engines of type EA189, VZB said, adding that it was its aim to determine that customers had been intentionally harmed by the car maker's use of manipulated software. Volkswagen said the possibility of a class action suit did not change the standpoint that there was no legal basis for consumers to make claims in connection to the diesel issue in Germany. And in sports, former world #1 Billie Jean King has softened her initial stance on the controversy over Serena Williams, who was totally out of line when she vehemently disputed calls by chair umpire Carlos Ramos during Saturday's U.S. Open final. Ramos, however, could have prevented the affair had he communicated better and given Williams a soft warning instead of a code violation when he saw her coach Patrick Mouratoglou giving signs during the match. Williams was issued a warning point and the game penalty after she argued with Ramos during the final, which was won 6-2, 6-4 by Japan's Naomi Osaka. Tyler Adams scored in the 71st minute against 10-man Mexico, and the U.S. men's national team defeated Mexico 1-0 on Tuesday at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Mexico's Angel Zaldivar was sent off in the 67th minute after a hard tackle on U.S. captain Will Trapp on the Columbus Crew. Zaldivar went for a slide tackle, but instead put his studs into Trapp's right leg. And umpire Carlos Ramos has made his first public statement since the U.S. Open, saying he was good despite the firestorm of controversy that followed his officiating last week's women's final between Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka. 47-year-old Portuguese handed out 3 code violations to runner-up Williams on Saturday, prompting a heated on-court argument with 23-time Grand Slam champion and sparking a terrible debate, sexism in tennis. Ramos, who told the newspaper that he had avoided walking the streets of New York on Sunday to avoid any complicated situation, confirmed he will be back in the chair on Friday in Zadar, Croatia. And that's the much we can take on PTV World Desk. Don't forget to watch us live anywhere across the world via our mobile app. Download it on Google Play for Android and iOS stores. It's PTV Nigeria. You can also watch us live on your mobile device via our website. It's www.ptvng.com/live. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. It's www.instagram.com/PTV_NG. I am Daniel Wabosa. Thank you very much for watching.
Soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law. I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have
There had hardly been any administration.
under the law, no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you.
Soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law. I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have
There had hardly been any administration.
under the law, no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is
a classico. I tell you, like 3 points is clear.
yes.
Eh? They go watch match.
Okay, what do you want me to do about it? Give us light. That's the only thing you've been saying since you came into my office. Maybe your work be that. No, it's my work, but see.
Our government fit do their work if we sef do our own work. No just sit down. Carry wetin dey worry you go meet who suppose solve am.
Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria, download, it's free, it's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Hello there and welcome to Cuisine Africana. I'm your host, Lilian Ogazi. Now today, we're going to be preparing a really interesting and controversial meal. Trust me, when I say it's controversial, this meal has caused tweet fights, media wars, Instagram fights between Nigerians, Ghanaians, Senegalese. I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about. But after the break, I'm going to introduce you properly to the meal and to our guest for the day. Do stay tuned. You're welcome back. Now with us today we have an award-winning chef who is going to be preparing this controversial meal for us. I call it controversial meal because trust me, I've experienced the tweet wars it goes through. But then again, let's meet our chef. Hello, Chef Daniel. Welcome to Cuisine Africana.
How are you doing now?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
So, can you introduce this controversial dish for us today?
Okay, today we are making a jollof rice, but it's going to be a central. It's going to be generalized the way everybody is making it.
Okay, it's not particularly, no, it's Nigerian jollof rice.
Like I said earlier, jollof rice is not originated from Nigeria.
Oh, no, you know what, let's not just cause this street fight, right? This is going to cause problem. Don't say it. It is Nigerian jollof rice. We own the rice. Just let's not argue. Let us not argue.
But the truth is, most of the meals we eat in Nigeria, if you want to talk about what Nigeria is, the actual dishes Nigerians are making, you were talking about the kind of call foriro or fada rice.
Jollof rice.
No, that's what I'm saying. We are just being introduced to what is called jollof rice, and from there everybody loves it. And it's just like when you travel abroad, when you start introducing some Nigerian dishes or Chinese, some people will like it. You know, they were like, okay, I like the taste of this particular meal. Can I have it prepared? So jollof rice is like fine. Ghanaian, Senegalese, and Nigeria, everybody is fighting to know, okay, who owns or who could best taste of the dishes. But what I say, or what we believe in, what makes you a very good cook is the taste of what you produce.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, I
so
do.
Let us not have a controversial, maybe Senegalese, Ghanaian, or Nigeria. Cook meal to taste what everybody can cook, what everybody can taste and enjoy it. But when you hear jollof rice, okay, you are expected to have that taste of jollof rice. When you hear fried rice, you're expected to have that taste of fried rice. So when you hear about some particular names of Nigerian meals or Nigerian dishes, people are expected, when they're eating it, is what they're expected. So that is what we are trying to make today. Jollof rice, we are making a real jollof rice, not Ghanaian, not Senegalese, not Nigerian, but the real taste of what everybody is expecting, as in it's called jollof rice.
Okay guys, you've heard it all. We're making jollof rice, not Nigerian, not Ghanaian, not Senegalese, but the real taste of what jollof rice is. So we should always cook to taste, not for tweet wars. So let's see our ingredients. What are we using for this meal?
Okay, we have rice. Normal, everybody has the rice. We have your chopped onions. We have, now when it comes to protein now, there are two different proteins that give the taste of when you're cooking jollof rice. It's either you use the beef stock or the chicken stock.
Okay.
And at times when you use the old layers of chicken stock, it has more taste. The reason why we are using the chicken stock to make. You can either use beef or chicken. It depends on the taste of what you are looking for. Like me, I love chicken stock, and I love Old Layers chicken stock because once you make it or you prepare it, the taste comes out very
really
well.
nice.
Okay, we have cubes, we have salt, we have puree, tomato puree, we have curry, we have thyme, we have vegetable oil, we have ginger, we have blended mixed tomato
and
pepper, we have butter, then we have the foil pepper to foil it. And
what are we using the foil pepper?
that's why you're saying we are making the real taste and the standard way of making jollof rice.
I love having this program with you because I learn a lot. Last time was on not using cube seasoning, and this time is foil pepper for jollof rice.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
All right. And water, you are going to put it in the pot. Okay, now there's another thing people need to know when cooking. A measurement and confectionery standard. You weigh or you measure everything you cook, and that's what produces you a very good taste of what you are doing now. So like this half kilo of chicken. In every half kilo of chicken, we are expected to put 3 cubes.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Salt to taste. Yeah. So you cover it, allow it to boil a little bit. Now we are going to start making our jollof rice. The first thing, you put your pot on fire. Get your vegetable oil. Okay. You fry your onions.
I thought I was supposed to wait for this to get heated up.
It's not
necessary.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on the method of what you are doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the onion?
No, a little bit. Like I said, when cooking in the kitchen, you don't use 2 melters together. You use wooden spoon. That is what is advisable in the kitchen.
Okay, for a metallic pot.
Yeah, sure. Then you add your ginger.
This is ginger and garlic.
Yeah. Or you can use ordinary ginger.
Ginger is slightly hot.
Now, it's always good to boil your pepper, tomato, onions together. You boil it to paste so that it can kill the sour taste.
Sour taste,
yeah.
The ginger is giving it an awesome aroma.
When it's a little bit dry like this, you can still add a little bit of oil. Yeah. So now, by the time you need to add stock, ordinary stock. Yeah. Add your ordinary stock, because remember we are making use of the chicken stock.
The chicken stock.
So yeah. You fry to get a paste also. We are trying to get a paste here.
I must confess, this smells really, as in the aroma is something else. The mouth is already watering.
You keep stirring so that it won't get burnt. And most times when you're cooking this jollof rice or fried rice or anything, when you're cooking generally, it's advisable to use non-stick pots, not stainless, or not any other kind. Non-stick pot helps matters when you are cooking.
Again, as much as it's advisable to use non-stick pots.
Yeah.
Is it affordable to an extent? For people who can't afford non-stick pots, what would you encourage them to do?
They use the clay pots, the Nigerian clay pots.
Is this still available?
Yeah, still available. But people would think
our local clay pot. Do
yes.
people still use it in their home?
Yes, they do.
Wow.
That's why we call it Nigeria. That's why we call it African way.
Now, I wish we were using that clay pot right now.
Oh, no, we are still going to use it in one of the programs. There's some particular meal we need to cook inside the clay pot. Yeah.
I can't wait for that one. This is still going to cook?
Yeah. Steam. You can see it's steaming.
Yes.
Okay, here comes the tomato puree.
I thought this was supposed to be like the first thing you
No. So by this time around, because we are still waiting for the stock to get ready, you now add your salt, curry, no, that won't come now. The cubes, I need 8 cubes. How many?
6.
We use all.
Oh, 8. We have like one left.
No, put all of that. Just put everything at once. Now, we've gotten our stock.
Yeah, but I realized you didn't add pepper, like ginger and all of that to the chicken.
To the chicken, yeah. The kind of taste of chicken we are making a steamed chicken. Now, not everybody loves taste of ginger and chicken. If you put it directly, definitely they will know. If you are adding ginger or making use of, if you are making use of ginger and garlic, pepper, and it's a different menu entirely. Do you understand? But what we are using, we are just making a fried steamed chicken. So we don't need garlic. It's a general. That's why there's some food you cook for general, and there's some food you cook for specific people. Yeah.
Okay, so this one is like a
general. Yes. So not everybody likes garlic and ginger.
So this is fried enough for the
yes. Stock. So add the stock.
La la.
Steam it together.
This is some yummy pot of meat.
So we need to wash our rice. So you wash 4 times since you are not parboiling. So add to your boiled. So another thing you need to observe after adding your rice, so you reduce the water. Sorry, you reduce the stock. You'll be using it to, don't worry, by the time you get to understand the process, because we still have butter, we still have cling film. So you have to reduce the stock a little bit. You take your measuring cup. Okay, I think it's okay. So you stir.
But is this myth that goes that you don't stir jollof rice when it's on fire, otherwise it's going to burn?
No, it's not now.
Okay.
That method, yeah, everybody has his own way. That's why I say everybody has his own way of cooking. There's what we call procedure in everything you do.
Okay.
You understand? So, like I said earlier on before, you cook to taste. Depending on any method, for example, I can bake jollof rice. without boiling. We are using boiling method.
Oh, you can actually bake jollof rice?
Yeah, you can bake jollof rice. You can put it in the oven.
After this whole seasoning?
No. Yeah, after spicing, you put it in the oven. That's why we have a braised rice. The braised rice is being baked inside the oven.
Wow. Okay.
So you can actually bake your jollof rice inside the oven, and it will give you another taste. General.
Slightly different from the regular taste. I hope people are learning, though. This is...
Okay, so you cover it. Once you add the rice, you now have to lower
the heat.
Yes, you have to lower your heat. Some people say until jollof rice gets burnt, that's why it has taste. That's a wrong impression.
Okay.
It doesn't have to get burnt, or doesn't have to use fire. It depends on the pressure of what, or the quantity of what you are cooking, that makes you increase the fire. That's why when your rice is being boiled, when the stock is being boiled, you add your rice. Immediately you add your rice, you lower the heat a little bit so that it will steam. Remember, it's steaming method you used in making jollof rice, in cooking jollof rice. So after steaming method, it will now get boiled. So the heat and the temperature of what you are using has to be a little bit reduced so that it can be cooked.
And to cook properly.
Yeah, it can be cooked and fried. So it is not until your
rice is burnt
that is it. So
like
that's
that burnt part is the best part of the
fine. It can be the burnt part, and the burnt part can be maybe you mistakenly forgot the rice and every other thing. But immediately you add your rice, you just need to lower the heat. Yes.
Okay, so we'll wait for this to cook. How about the chicken?
Yeah, we need to fry it. It's ready. Okay. Can you bring the fryer?
The chicken is cooked, right?
Yeah, it's been cooked. So we are going to fry it and steam it. Remember, always use broiler. It's more okay.
Broiler or layers?
On layers. Yeah. But I don't want to talk about that one.
No, say it though, feel free. But what?
No. You know, most people don't really like frozen chicken because of the preservative.
I don't like frozen chicken. You don't even need to go far. I don't like frozen chicken. I rather eat live chicken. I feel like it has more taste.
Yeah.
I feel like it's real. It has more taste.
Yeah. You know, one thing about people don't eat with caution, and people don't eat with our doctor prescription. There are some things you don't need to your body system, and which is wrong. Like preservative, by making use of preservative, it's not that good for our body system. Making use of any food that is being preserved, it's not good. You know, let me take you back to our grannies and all. They don't, then our parents, they don't eat leftover food.
Yes, I remember they make, especially when you go to the village, they make fresh soups every day. Yes, I know that one.
So you understand, but it's because of laziness or overstress or one or two things. You see our modern days cook, put something, and it's not advisable to put food in the freezer or in the fridge, even in the freezer. It loses the taste because when it's inside the freezer, it will be blocked. Remember, when it's blocked, it's the water that makes it block. And when it's melting, the water, when it defrosts, the water is going to change the taste of it. And by that time, it will have killed the taste of the food.
Well, people are different, like you rightly said, because I love afang soup a day old in the freezer.
But lost taste. Like, for example, it is wrong for you to keep a vegetable soup till the previous day. Nobody in the village will ever, you can't see anybody even to the present stage that will cook vegetable soup and leave it to the next day.
The village, they finish it that very day and make a fresh soup the next day.
So why don't we apply that method when making our Nigerian dishes or when we're making anything African? There are some particular meals that just has to be cooked that very day.
You know, but the society we found ourselves in and the way the world is evolving.
Because we chose.
Not because we chose. I have a busy schedule and I really need to cook. And I prepare a meal that's going to last me for a week.
There's what I used to tell them in the seminar. I used to say something that it is better to eat good food to have a lesser drug. We don't have much drugs. Our grannies, if you go to village up till now, you see them living, drinking waters from the stream, and they are still healthy. Because of one, there are a lot of things that I'm not condemning we shouldn't take drugs but overuse. And every other things, and there are sometimes, for example, if you are having if you are being depressed or you are having something or you are overstressed, if you take fruits, your body will be okay.
fruits is actually really good.
So why don't we apply all those things to make ourselves good?
Okay. So we have our oil heated up and
We want to fry the
chicken.
The chicken.
I'm really surprised we didn't add ginger and the rest. Normal me.
Because we have it. Yeah.
I'm steaming my chicken. I add ginger, garlic.
That's your taste. But if you
onion.
invite me, if I taste the ginger and garlic onion in your chicken,
You feel it's too spicy.
I won't eat it because me, I don't like it on the chicken because it will be too sharp with the chicken.
Wow. Okay. We learn every day. It's a new one today.
Okay, so I would have loved to even eat it with crispy chicken, but crispy chicken is not a Nigerian dish.
No, it's not.
So we're going to use
it. With African. It's African. It's us.
Okay. So.
It's going to go golden brown.
Yeah.
I love golden brown. Okay, guys, our chicken is frying to a little golden brown taste, and then our rice is also cooking. We're going to go on another break. When we get back, Kizzy African and continue. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. Well, if you're just joining us, this is Kizzy African and we're making jollof rice. Real quick, our chicken is already ready. We're frying our chicken before the break, so it's ready and we're going to take it out. I must say the chicken have really shrunk in size. They were really huge. So our chicken is ready.
Okay.
Are we doing any other thing to it?
If you want to steam it with
The rice.
the rice.
No, I'm just asking what you had in mind. This is all to it.
Yeah, this is also it.
So let's see our rice.
It's not ready.
Oh, it's not ready.
Yeah. It has to boil to steam.
To steam.
Yeah.
So we'll still wait for this one.
Okay. Now it's boiled. You can see for like based on since we measured whatever we are cooking for that half kg, so it has to boil like 20 minutes or 25 minutes,
okay.
before you check. So now it's being boiled, half cooked.
Half to cook.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is where your butter comes in.
Yeah. So what does this butter? Does it change the taste or something?
Yes.
Isn't it to add more?
No, it's okay. So here comes the clean fin. Clean fin. Sorry.
Foil.
Your foil paper. Foil paper. Sorry. We are going to use it to cover it. They will now lower the heat of the temperature so that everything will be steamed together when cooking. So you put your foil.
Wow.
So you need to lower the heat.
A little bit.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Now this is for small scale cooking.
Yeah.
If you're cooking for a wedding, do you go through this?
Yeah.
You actually use the foil paper on a very huge pot.
Yeah, we don't use when if it's not, if you don't have foil paper, you can use you can use nylon.
A normal nylon.
No, but it's not advisable. It's not hygienic to use nylon. So, but if you are cooking for a party, we can use the bag sack, the bag of rice. We'll tear it, or if we have the foil paper, we'll make use of the foil paper too.
Someone told me about this method, but I was really wondering what you're going to use the foil paper for. So how long are we going to sit for this to steam?
When it's cooked, let's say like 15 minutes.
Okay.
For it to steam, then we'll still turn it again.
Again.
Yeah.
Alright.
So I was expecting you to ask me now. For example now, like...
Yeah, when is this going to go in?
Now we are not going to add it again. We may not. That's why some people don't take actual notes when they are cooking. Even when they are boiling ordinary white rice, you don't allow your stock to be mud. Ordinary stock, I mean the water to be mud. So when you discover it, you reduce it. It is better you start adding it bit by bit so that it gets to actual.
So it's a situation where maybe this is not cooked, we can now add this.
Yes, show it.
So what if it's cooked? We throw this away or we
No, you keep it. You use it. You use it.
Okay. Alright guys, we're going to go on a quick break. Our jollof rice is going through a steaming process with the foil paper, and we're going to sit for this to cook for a while. And then while that is cooking, we're going to go for a quick break. When we get back, we'll continue our exciting meal. You're welcome back. So let's see how far this has gone.
Yeah, okay, we need to turn it for the second time again. So you taste it to know either you still cover it to steam so that your jollof rice can come out one.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so okay, you test it if it is cooked.
It's actually really nice, but it's cooked.
Is it cooked? So let's allow, if it is cooked, spread so that it will come out one. So you spread it.
And still cover it again?
No, you won't cover it again. The foil paper have steamed
the taste into it
together. Do you understand? So you now allow it. Since it's being cooked, you open it
halfway
for like 10 or 15 minutes again.
Okay.
If you watch our rice, you discover that
it burns a little bit underneath.
But not like that method of that mindset that your jollof rice has to be.
Jollof rice just has to burn. That's why the fact we use a non-stick pot is still burns.
But it is not to get burnt to that dark. Or you don't need to make it. It's just like the reason why it's like that is because of the stew.
The stew, okay.
That's why, for example, are you expected to cook fried rice to get burnt? No.
Okay.
If you cook fried rice to get burnt, you're not a professional. Even getting your jollof rice to get burnt is not a professional.
It's not professional.
It's not professional.
Okay, so we sit for 10 minutes.
Yes, 10 minutes for light. Just
okay, one more. Okay. The rice is ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we need to dish it.
Just in case you're just joining us, we're actually rounding up, and it's Cuisine Africana. Today we prepared jollof rice and fried chicken, Nigerian jollof rice to be precise. And with me on the table we have Mr.
Jude.
Oh, Mr. Jude. So, I'm sure the food looks really attractive enough.
Really attractive.
That's very nice.
What do you think? This is amazing, as in. What do you think?
Look from taste here. It's like, really, I've really had jollof rice in a lot of places.
But this is lovely,
but this
right?
is really lovely.
Alright guys, you've heard it yourself. The rice is awesome. I'm sure most of you know how to cook jollof rice at home, and I'm sure you all have your different methods of making jollof rice. And with this, we've come to an end of Cuisine Africana for this week. See you again same time, same station next week. Bye for now.
This guy, they cook for her.
Ow, ow, ow. Yes.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
Jesus Christ.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria, download, it's free, it's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you.
Hello and welcome to PTV Today. I am Lilian Ogazi. With barely 10 days to the governorship election in Osun, the opposition People's Democratic Party is confident of defeating the All Progressive Congress. PDP spokesman Kola Ologbodiyan said this in a chat with PTV in Abuja. He also explained why it will continually opt for indirect primaries for selecting candidates for elective positions. That report will be brought to you in our subsequent bulletin. Now moving on, the People's Democratic Party presidential aspirant and former Senate President David Mark has appointed Senator Zainab Abdulkadir Kure as the Director General of his campaign organization. He has also named an Abuja-based legal practitioner, Abba Ejembe, as spokesman for the campaign team. Kure is a former First Lady of Niger State and was a senator between 2007 and 2015, representing Niger South Senatorial District. Ejembe, for his part, is a seasoned lawyer and public commentator. Moving on to Benue State now, Benue State Governor Samuel Otom has brushed aside comments credited to Senator George Akume that he would remove the governor in 6 months. Speaking through Teva Akase, his chief press secretary, Otom accused his former political godfather of aggregating unnecessary powers to himself. He also challenged Akume to prove allegations of embezzlement of public funds he and others have been leveling against his principal. Still in Benue State, the Benue State House of Assembly has suspended 3 local government chairmen for financial misappropriation and embezzlement of public funds. The chairmen are Vandeka Local Government Dennis Akura, that of Goa East Vitalis Ura, and Ogbadibo Local Government Simon Akola and his deputy. The Assembly leadership is to take charge of Abadibo local government because both the chairman and his deputy have been suspended. The suspended chairmen are among the ones who refused to defect to PDP with Governor Samuel Otom. The House suspended the council chairman in spite of a court order barring the two factions of the Assembly from sitting until the determination of a suit on its status. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday accepted the presidential nomination form purchased by a group, the Nigerian Consolidation Ambassadors Network. It also seized the opportunity to again lash out at defectors from the ruling party. According to the President Buhari, they are weak and selfish politicians.
We are decisively addressing new security challenges locally while maintaining our regional and international commitments. On infrastructure development, 1, we are completing old rail and road projects and starting new ones. 2, we are reviving power projects which have been abandoned for decades. 3, we are developing affordable housing projects across the country. 4, we have commenced the long overdue repairs and upgrades of our sea and airports facilities. On food security, we have supported our farmers to produce. We have rehabilitated abandoned fertilizer plants. We have seen unprecedented investment in food processing. All these have led to a decline in food and other agricultural imports. Our fight against corruption is also yielding results. The strict implementation of the Treasury single account has stopped the leakages in government activities. Our aggressive anti-corruption campaign has shown that it is no longer business as usual.
In his response to President Buhari's comments, former Vice President Abubakar Atiku says the president's failure to retain people like him is a sign of weakness. Atiku added that his attempt to come to power is to clean the mess that Buhari would have, which has resulted in job loss, poor economy, and ranking of the country as one of the poorest. He said in a statement by his campaign spokesman Segun Sowunmi that Nigeria had never had a more incompetent person as a president. Atiku argued that Buhari has not been able to provide leadership and pointed at UN Convention on Freedom of Association to justify his decision to leave the APC. The All Progressive Congress has set conditions for the adoption of consensus candidates by its state chapters. This, according to the parties, because of the indiscriminate announcement of consensus candidates in some states. It said in a statement by its acting spokesman Yekini Nabena that it does not foreclose direct or indirect primaries for all elective positions. APC added that consensus will apply when no other aspirants signify interest through purchase of nomination forms for the position in question. There is a last-minute rush to collect and submit nomination forms at the APC National Secretariat. High-caliber politicians cited at the party office and Niger State Governor Sani Bello, former Minister Pauline Talen, and Senate spokesman Senator Sabi Abdullahi. Also seen at the APC Secretariat in Abuja is former Oyo Governor Adebayo Alao Akala. Francis Tuku has the rest of the story.
The All Progressive Congress could best be described as a beehive of activities. The early callers are some of the biggest political names in the country. Some of them provided insight into their ambition.
Now that we are seeking re-election, it's very obvious when we go back to the field, we should be able to go and tell our people what we have done for them. And on this note, I think I'm very confident that by the special grace of God, I have served my people diligently. I have struggled as their representative to ensure that dividends of democracy gets into Niger North Senatorial District, and to also speak out with respect to the problems that affect that very great senatorial district.
You can see a groundswell of support for what we're trying to do. The distinguished senator, I'm sure, had come here and also have picked up his form for governor. I have picked up mine and I've submitted same. Maybe there will be one or two other aspirants, perhaps. I mean, I wouldn't speak until all of those things have taken place. But I can tell you that I have the party, the rank and file of the party faithful behind this aspiration. And it cuts across, all party lines. I find people in the Labour Party supporting my aspiration. I find people in AFGA supporting my aspiration, right across. And the APC will be blessed, if they have me as the candidate of the party for the 2019 governorship elections.
And all the way from Ibadan is a former Oyo State governor.
With respect to other Yoruba area of western the western southwest part of the country, our own Yoruba or your Yoruba is what they use in writing GC, because we are the real core Yoruba. So we don't see ourselves as Okeogun, Oyo, or Ibadan. But when they want to bring in politics, they will bring that one on the front border. Anybody can become governor at any time in Oyo State. There's no zoning and nothing like zoning. If you think you are fit to be a governor, why don't you put yourself up?
Some of the aspirants were emphatic on some trending issues that have been topics of debate within the party.
Anybody that is a popular politician will never second to indirect primaries. Direct primaries is more democratic, and that is the only option that will express the wishes of the people.
I would have preferred direct primaries so that I can judge and I can see my popularity with my people. That will give me confidence on what they're going to do for me in the general election. But now that it is like this, it is still my people, my party members, my executives that are going to vote. We have no problem with that, and we're going to go into election. And we believe justice is going to be delivered.
The aspirants are convinced that the primaries will be a credible process with a level playing field for all. Francis Etuko, PTV News, Abuja.
Senate President and presidential aspirant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, Bukola Saraki, has named Doyin Okukpe as chairman of the Media Council for his campaign organization. The Director General of the campaign team, Mohammed Wakli, disclosed this in a statement issued in Abuja. He added that the medical doctor is expected to work with other top professionals in the team to communicate Saraki's campaign messages to the local and international audiences. Dr. Okukpe was the Director of Communications of presidential campaigns of two former presidents, Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan, and later served as spokesman for the two. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Monguno, says security operatives are prepared for the 2019 elections. The NSA discloses in Abuja at a consultative meeting with the Independent National Electoral Commission.
It's been a busy month for the election umpire, and it doesn't look like they are ready to take a rest. This is the tone of security agencies to meet with INEC. Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu set the tone for the deliberations.
The Electoral Act, specifically Section 26, empowers the Commission to suspend election on account of violence or threat of violence. And therefore, as a civic duty, elections can only hold where we have secure environment to hold these elections. So we'll continue to partner and continue to work with excess. As we approach the 2019 general elections, our meetings are going to become more frequent and more regular. For our part, we'll do whatever we need to do to ensure that we find solution to this challenge, including, as we have consistently said, the administration of our polling units.
NSA Mungunu reeled out the plans of security agencies for the elections.
Now, as the 2019 elections draw closer, there will be a greater need for us to meet more frequently to deal with whatever issues that may arise and forestall any unpleasant situation before, during, and immediately after the elections. In terms of capacity building, it is our intention to continue to build on whatever we have received received from our forebears. And as a starter, there will be the Election Security Management Seminar, which has been slated for the 11th of October, which will be opened by the President. Now, the idea is for us to streamline all the areas that need to be looked at and to begin a training session for all security operatives who will.
INEC is expected to meet more agencies before the end of the quarter. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
Initiator of the Not Too Young to Run Act, Representative Tony Nwulu, has picked his nomination form to run for the Imo State governorship seat under the platform of the United Progressive Party. Nwulu is the first Imo politician to collect nomination form at the UPP National Secretariat in Abuja. As Emmanuel Bagudu reports, the federal lawmaker reaffirmed his commitment to giving young Nigerians a voice in governance.
After breaking ethnic barrier in Lagos to clinch the Isolo Oshodi slot in Nigeria's House of Reps, Tony Nwulu is set for another feat, that of being the youngest governor in the political history of Imo State. The federal lawmaker left the main opposition party, the PDP, for the lesser-known UPP, and as the electoral process demands, he now has the nomination form to set the ball on his governorship ambition rolling.
UPP! Love and unity! Love and unity!
And after the successful purchase of the nomination form, it's time to hear from the man behind the landmark of the Not Too Young to Run Act.
I can reliably tell you that facts and figures on ground shows that my party has become a party to reckon with in Imo State. That's to start with. And then when you talk about the powers that be, like I told you when I started this, the power resides with the people. The people are the powers that be. And at the right time, they will make their choice. And I'm sure that that choice will be Tony Nwulu.
The party has done some extra work on the aspirants. And I've gone this far. But it is my honor and pleasure to present to you the party nomination form for the governorship race in Imo State. And I present this to you.
Pretty good report.
I expect to that INEC will do the same.
He also made a case for Imo youths.
To a great extent, that we reduced the age for running for election does not mean that you don't have to be qualified to even seek that position. It's not an all-comers affair. You must have the intellectual capability to stay whatever office you intend to occupy. Let's start with that one. But then, where you would also fault that comment is that the system has not, in earnest, supported the growth of the young people.
Until recently, there were two parties in the Imo governorship race. But now the party, whose logo is the tiger's head, is seen as a third force. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
More governorship candidates have emerged in Benue State, and the latest to join the race is the immediate past special advisor to the Benue State Governor on Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Titus Zam. Zam said his decision to join the governorship race was predicated on the poor performance of the incumbent governor and his exit from APC to PDP. Our Benue State correspondent Akumi Taf tells us more from this report presented from our studios.
The 2019 general elections is barely a few months away, and the political space has been full of activities. As states begin to gear up for their party primaries, other aspirants have continued to indicate interest to seek election into offices. Now, Titus Zam is the latest to join the governorship race in Benue.
In line with the anti-corruption measures of the President Muhammad Buhari-led federal government, I will also domesticate good governance strategies in consonance with the contemporary international development system. Here, what I'm talking about is that Some of us who are in the academics and have also taken time to carry out some research about development. The major concept now in the international development paradigm, whether it's the United Nations or World Bank, is this good governance concept with emphasis on efficient and effective service delivery, prudent management of resources, rule of law, accountability, transparency, free press.
If elected governor, the former ally to Otom promised to reinstate over 10,000 local government workers who were sacked by Governor Otom.
Let me tell you exactly what has happened about this issue of the new imposing tax posed by the Trump's administration. The preceding government of PDP abused employment in the local government. Council chairmen were employing people at their own level without recourse to the Local Government Service Commission. Local Government Service Commission, on its part, also didn't conduct themselves well because some approvers were not genuine. You don't need to meet a big man in the commission, he types a letter of approval and gives you to go and employ. So when I assumed duty at Bureau, there was no specific staff list in the local government. So it was difficult for me to even pay. And that partly explains why from January 2015 to May, there was no payment.
At the end, the governorship aspirant accused the Governor Otom-led government of failing to develop the states.
Benue State Governor Samuel Otom on Tuesday swore into office the first substantive female head of state civil service. He also saddled her with the task of ensuring harmony and better performance in the civil service. The swearing-in ceremony took place at the Old Banquet Hall of the Government House in Makurdi.
Veronica Onyeka making history in Benue State. Governor Otom recognizes the tax ahead and urged her to live up to expectation.
Must add that because we are gender friendly and sensitive, the first female head of service of Benue. Let me quickly add that her appointment has come at a time that the civil service is facing many challenges, which include indiscipline, lack of commitment to duty, absenteeism, and dwindling performance as a result of government inability to pay arrears of salaries. There is no doubt that our state, like many others in the country, is passing through difficult times with paucity of funds, slowing down the momentum of our services to the Benue public.
She promised to do her best to elevate service in the states.
So I appreciate and thank you, His Excellency, for this honor. I want to assure you that this confidence reposed in me, I will never betray it. I will uphold the tenets of the service and build on what my predecessor has taught. I will also not forget my oath of allegiance today. So thank you, sir. Thank you, and thank you.
Veronica Onyeka takes over from George Ede, who has proceeded on retirement. She was, until her elevation, the permanent secretary in the office of the deputy governor.
That is on the news this hour. On behalf of PTV News Production, many thanks for watching. I am Lilian Ogazi.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you. For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you.
Soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are engaged.
Executive order should comply with the law. I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have
said there had hardly been any administration.
Practitioner was placed the end of justice under the law. No religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
Before the creation of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Nigeria, the most populous black nation on earth, was confronted with the twin problem of poor global image and the dwindling economic fortunes due to the activities of advanced fee fraudsters, also known as 419ers, and corruption in the public and private sectors. Hello and welcome to the program, The Eagle. My name is Aisha Mohammed. On the program today, we represent to you a special documentary that chronicles efforts made by the EFCC in combating the menace of corruption in Nigeria. Please stay tuned as Aisha Gambari will be our guide right after this timeout.
Before the creation of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Nigeria, the most populous black nation on earth, was confronted with the twin problem of poor global image and dwindling economic fortunes due to the activities of advanced fee fraudsters, also known as 419, and corruption in the public and private sectors. Foreign direct investment came in trickles, and domestic businesses struggled to get by, while the nation's infrastructure was in severe state of decay. The EFCC was therefore created as an instrument of reform to help restore confidence in the nation's economy by instilling corporates' responsibility through the enforcement of all extant laws on economic and financial crimes. Since its creation in 2003, the Commission has successfully carried out this mandate with several milestones recorded, including the delisting of Nigeria from the list of non-cooperative countries and territories (NCCT) by the Financial Action Task Force in June 2006. Due to its unrelenting efforts in the war against graft, the EFCC has become a reference point among law enforcement agencies both home and abroad. Ibrahim Mustafa Magu, a commissioner of police, became the acting chairman of the EFCC on November 11, 2015, after taking over the arms of affairs from Ibrahim Lamurde. Magu is one of the founding staff of the EFCC, who served as the head of the Economic Governance Unit during the tenure of Nuhu Ribadu, the pioneer chairman of the EFCC. Since Magu assumed office as the acting chairman, he has been unwavering in his commitment to change the narrative as far as the fight against corruption is concerned. His first challenge on taking the reins of affairs was to address the dwindling fortunes of the Commission by initiating reforms that has ushered in a radically improved work ethics within the Commission. Convinced that an organization perceived to be corrupt cannot fight corruption, integrity issues were addressed by ensuring that round pegs were placed in round holes in terms of postings to sensitive operations position. To ensure that only the best are offered employment into the Commission, the recruitment processes were also reviewed. Several measures including aptitude tests, interviews, polygraph examinations, and vetting of candidate certificates and background were introduced amongst others. New cadet intakes employed by the Commission are thereafter sent to the Nigeria Defense Academy in Kaduna for rigorous law enforcement training. Fully conscious of the growing sophistication of economic crimes and corruption, an inventory of the existing operations architecture was taken, which resulted in the creation of new units to address emerging challenges in criminality. New zonal offices were also created in Ibadan, Kaduna, Benin, and Uyo, while the Maiduguri office was reopened to improve accessibility of the public to the Commission. The EFCC new head office complex, whose construction was abandoned due to lack of funds, was also given priority. Upon his assumption of office, all avenues were employed to raise funds for the completion of the project. With the support of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and the 8th National Assembly, Julius Berger, the construction company handling the project, returned to site, and the building has now been completed. In the area of operations, the Commission sent a forceful message that impunity will no longer be condoned by taking on the high and mighty in the society. One of the flanks of war being waged by the Ibrahim Magu-led EFCC is leading an investigation into the arms procurement deal saga, allegedly involving top serving and retired military generals and political leaders. For the very first time in the history of Nigeria, senior military officers, including former service chiefs, a number of serving and retired generals, their civilian counterparts, former ministers, governors, and several politicians were investigated and arraigned for allegedly diverting over $15 billion meant for the procurement of arms to combat Boko Haram insurgency in northeast Nigeria. Also arrested and arraigned was Colonel Sambo Dasuki, a former security advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan. While the alleged free stealing and sharing lasted, hundreds of soldiers were dying on the battlefield. Thousands of innocent lives lost. Women were raped and abducted. Children were rendered orphans, and properties and houses worth billions of naira were destroyed. The 2 million displaced people in camps across the country, while being thankful for their lives, contend with the harsh realities of survival. In many other parts of the country, compatriots continue to live in fear, grief, pains, and sorrow. As the sufferings continued, a few individuals far away in the big cities wined and dined on what is now being called blood money. Investigations by the EFCC revealed that, for instance, in a single stream of transaction, the sum of $2.1 billion moved through the office of a one-time national security advisor to those of several individuals for fictitious services that were never rendered. The money allegedly found its ways into huge private estates of certain individuals, and they acquired properties worth billions of naira across the country, even as some allegedly stock millions of dollars in their wardrobes.
How much do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it is estimated to be $50,000. Yes, 10,000 per punch. 50. 100. 150. 100. 250. 300. 350. 400. 450. 500. 550. 600. 650. 700. 750. 800,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 500. 1 million.
As an agency determined to ensure that corrupt elements are denied access to the proceeds of their crime, the EFCC, in a calculated raid, combed every nook and cranny of the country to confiscate assets traced to the missing funds. In Abuja, Nigeria, for example, several properties worth over 10 billion naira traced to the retired and serving generals allegedly involved in the arms deal were marked and confiscated by the EFCC. And in high-brow areas in Lagos, Nigeria, the EFCC also traced and confiscated a number of choice properties linked to the culprits of the arms scandal. Apart from the arms deal fraud, the Commission moved into the oil industry. the country's oil subsidy regime, which was characterized by massive corruption, was investigated, and many corrupt oil marketers were arrested and arraigned. The subsidy fraud, which was perpetrated in connivance with government officials, drained the country's treasury of billions of naira, allegedly claimed by criminals for petroleum products that were never supplied. The EFCC recorded a major milestone in the prosecution of these defaulters with the conviction of the trial of Walter Wagbasoma, Chairman, Ontario Oil and Gas Limited, Ada Ugo Ngadi, Managing Director of the company, and Jibril Rawaye, Managing Director, Brila Energy Limited, to 10 years imprisonment. But perhaps the most audacious oil sector investigation is the one involving a former Petroleum Resources Minister, Desiani Alice Madueke, and her cronies over various improprieties running into several millions of dollars. In the course of the investigation, operatives of the EFCC recovered cash and jewelries worth millions of dollars from her Abuja home. Other properties worth over $50 million linked to Desiani across Nigeria have now been forfeited to the federal government. While these revelations rankle, most Nigerians were also shocked to learn about how the country's patrimony was frittered in bribes for vote schemes in the 2015 general election. The investigation, which is still ongoing, has witnessed the interrogation and prosecution of a number of politicians, former federal ministers, and INEC officials, amongst others. Investigations by the EFCC into the public service system also revealed that Nigeria lost billions of naira to the ghost worker syndrome, a corrupt practice that injected thousands of non-existing workers into the government payroll system. The syndicate behind this monumental fraud was busted, which led to the government saving over 200 billion naira as nearly 50,000 ghost workers were removed from government payroll system. Still in the efforts to check leakages, the federal government, in a directive issued in 2015, called for the reinforcement of the Treasury Single Account, TSA. The directive ordered all ministries, departments, and agencies of government to commence payment of all government revenues into the TSA accounts. The EFCC again keyed into these pronouncements. Operatives of the Commission, in a swift investigation, discovered over 100 billion naira hidden away by defaulting agencies. This calculated move now saves the government over 24 billion naira monthly. The Commission's investigation activities received a further boost with the coming into force of the federal government's whistleblower policy. The policy, which was initiated in December 2016, is primarily to support the fight against financial crimes and corruption by increasing exposure of financial crimes and rewarding whistleblowers. The EFCC quickly created reporting portals via its social media platforms at Official EFCC and through dedicated phone lines. The very first call which came through led to the discovery of $9.8 million hidden in the slums of Sabon Tasha, Kaduna State. The money is said to belong to Dr. Andrew Yakubu, a former group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. The funds are under an interim forfeiture order, even as Yakubu challenged the court order. Still in Kaduna, following a tip-off, the EFCC also intercepted the sum of about 250 million naira in sacks at the Kaduna International Airport after the bags were sighted unattended to. In Lagos, another tip from a whistleblower led to the interception of 250 million naira in various currencies at a popular textile market in the city. And in the shopping plaza located in the highbrow area of Victoria Island, also in Lagos, the sum of about 500 million naira was also uncovered. The most unbelievable discovery was, however, that of Asban Towers, also in Ikoyi, Lagos, where a whopping cache of over 13 billion naira in local and foreign currencies were discovered in an apartment on the 7th floor of the towers. These funds have now been forfeited to the federal government. In addition to cash and properties, The EFCC Eagle Eyes also cited and recovered several vehicles suspected to be proceeds of crime. Amongst them are 17 vehicles linked to a former Comptroller General of Customs, Abdullah Idiko Inde. The EFCC also waged into the over 20 billion naira pension scam. Several individuals alleged to have stolen pension funds and laundered them were arrested and are currently facing charges. Notably amongst them is Sani Shoaibu Tedi, a former Director of Pension Accounts, Office of the Heads of Civil Service of the Federation, and the suspended Director General of the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, Nelly Meshak. Serving judges and very senior lawyers are equally standing trial for corruption. They include Justice Rita Ajumagobia and Justice Nwali S. Unguta, amongst others. Also being prosecuted are senior advocates of Nigeria, SAN, including Ricky Tafa and Joseph Nwobike, amongst others. Joseph Nwobike has, however, been convicted to 12 months imprisonment for perversion of justice. Serving and former heads of government agencies also felt the EFCC squeeze. Patrick Akpobolokemi, a former Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, and 8 others are being prosecuted on a 40 counts charge bordering on money laundering and stealing. Others are Abba Moro, former Minister of Interior, and Steve Orosai, former heads of service, who are also standing trial for offences ranging from recruitment and pension fraud. Former state governors are also being prosecuted for various offences. They include Joshua Dariye, former governor of Plateau State, Jolly Inyame, former governor of Taraba State, Oji Uzo Kalu, former governor of Abia State, and Ikedi Oakim, former governor of Imo State. Others are Alao Akala, former governor of Oyo State, Murtala Inyaku, former governor of Adamawa State, alongside his son Abdulaziz Inyaku, Ibrahim Shema, former governor of Katsina State, Sele Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State, and his sons Aminu and Mustafa, and their Benue State counterpart Gabriel Suswan and his finance commissioner Omodachi Okolobia. In terms of convictions, the EFCC recorded about 500 convictions from 2015, when the present administration came on board, to May 2018. Those convicted include a former governor of Adamawa State, Bala Ingelari, to 5 years in jail for procurement fraud, though later upturned by the appeal court, but the EFCC has since filed an appeal against the ruling. A former local government chairman in Kogi State, Gabriel Daudu, was sentenced to 5 years in jail for money laundering, and 3 oil marketers, Walter Wagbasona, Ada Ugo Ngadi, and Jibril Rawaye, alongside their companies, were also sentenced to 10 years imprisonment for oil subsidy fraud. Other notable convictions include that of Accountant General of Kebbi State, Mohammed Arzika Aikengari, who bagged 70 years imprisonment for his involvement in over 1 billion naira fraud. An undergraduate of Kuala Lumpur Metropolitan University, Malaysia, Hope Olusegun Aroke, was sentenced to 24 years imprisonment for his involvement in internet fraud. The commission also secured an extradition order from Justice Abdul Kafarati of the Federal High Court in Abuja for the extradition of Franca Asemota, a Nigerian fugitive, to the United Kingdom for offences bordering on trafficking of minors, and 9 foreigners alongside their visa, MT Asterix, to 5 years imprisonment for illegal oil bunkering. This is just to mention a few. In the area of international collaborations, the EFCC has also been actively involved in the efforts to repatriate stolen Nigerian assets abroad. These calculated exercises has seen the Commission engaging countries that are believed to be nests of stolen assets. Despite the modest impact that the Commission's enforcement efforts have recorded, the Commission is of the firm belief that law enforcement actions alone cannot win the war against corruption in Nigeria. To this extent, the EFCC gave a boost to its preventive mandate by creating various sensitization programs in order to educate and enlighten the public about the ills of corruption. Awareness roadworks are organized quarterly in order to draw more attention to the anti-graft fight. The Commission also airs anti-corruption programs on leading radio and television networks in Nigeria, even as the social media has been fully embraced as a vehicle for mobilization and information dissemination. Through its Enlightenment and Reorientation Unit, the EFCC has created various enlightenment programs for schools, youth, women groups, religious bodies, and other government agencies. And in a bid to draw more attention to the crusade, the Commission has also embraced the use of music by organizing musical concerts across the country. The Clean Hands campaign was also launched in Abuja and across other geopolitical zones. The program was designed to promote the values of integrity and probity among the younger generation. The Creative Youth Initiative was also unveiled in October 2016. The idea was conceived out of the need to give children a platform to express themselves using arts and various talents in order to speak against corruption. Women Against Corruption, also known as WAC, was added to the EFCC campaign strategy with the flag off of the program in Abuja by wife of the president, Hajia Aisha Buhari, in December 2016. The same program was rolled out in February 2017 in Lagos with wives of all the southwestern governors and notable society women present at the event. Other geopolitical zones are billed to follow soon. For its unrelenting efforts in championing the war against corruption in Nigeria, the EFCC has received several commendations both home and abroad. In August 2017, the EFCC was rated as the most effective government agency in Nigeria in a report conducted by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC. The City People magazine, during its 20th City People Awards for Excellence, also recognized the Commission as the most effective government agency in the country for the year 2016. Magu was also honored with the 2016 Person of the Year award by Leadership Newspapers. Indeed, slowly but steadily, the anti-graft agency is altering the narrative of criminal prosecution in Nigeria and setting a standard for law enforcement agencies within and outside the country. Global confidence has been restored as several donor organizations and foreign law enforcement agencies collaborate with the EFCC, which is opening fresh lines of partnership and collaboration. The EFCC has displayed that courage and dedicated leadership can bring an end to the menace of corruption in Nigeria. And going by the President Muhammadu Buhari's words, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria. Let us all rise to this challenge.
Indeed, slowly but surely, the Anti-Graft Agency is altering the narrative of criminal prosecution in Nigeria and setting a standard for law enforcement agency within and outside of the country. It is believed that all Nigerians will support the EFCC in its quest for a corrupt-free Nigeria. Please join the fight, as the responsibility is a collective one. And that's all we have for you on this episode of The Eagle. You too can be part of this program by sending your inquiries and suggestions to The Eagle at efccnigeria.org, or search for us on Google Plus at Official EFCC, Official EFCCNG at gmail.com. You can like our page on facebook.com/Official EFCC, or follow us on Twitter at Official EFCC. And of course, you can visit our Instagram page at Official EFCC. To watch our programs and other activities, please log on to youtube.com/Official EFCC. My name is Aisha Mohammed, hoping to see you next week. Always remember that a public office is a public trust, and do not abuse positions of trust for private gains. Goodbye, and God bless Nigeria.
usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe is the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because
we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the NDC.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you will go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm Agberu. That made me like this Agberu.
He don't need PVC. He don't need PVC. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bayelsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask his people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute that investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
Soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have
said there had hardly been any administration.
Under the law, no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria, download, it's free, it's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV. As usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
He said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe is the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the RC.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you can ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm Agberu. That made me like this Agberu.
He don't need PVC. He don't need PVC. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bayelsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in the society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day,
Basketball drags NACO staff on Instagram. DJ Spinell takes great step forward, joins Atlantic Records. I attempted suicide at 16, Hollywood actor Akinnuoye Agbaje. Hello and welcome to E360 brought to you by MTN. I am Joy Oche. Now today is particularly exciting for me because we have lots and lots of interesting stories from our celebrities and we have a sneaky peeky interview, I'm not going to tell you who, with one of our celebrities who is going to be joining us right here in the show. Now moving straight into the news, Basketball doesn't have nice words for some of the staff of Nigeria Aviation Handling Company NACO as it drags them on Instagram. Now Basketball isn't happy that these people are still breaking into luggage belonging to travelers and stealing from them. He made his dissatisfaction known on his Instagram page yesterday. According to him, I want to use this medium to appreciate NACO. You guys have been doing a great job handling our luggage at the airport. However, I suggest you advise your staff to have small shame, just a little. I'm not asking for too much. Breaking into passengers' checked-in luggage isn't romantic. It's 2018. Charity begins at home, not in the luggage of the airline passengers. Now let's take a little look at one of Basketball's really exciting comedy skits.
Phone make I follow you talk now. As the guy enter inside, because if the other guy, the worker they enter with the babe. Then the guy just say, what? The babe. And they follow you talk.
Sorry. I didn't hear now. You worker enter with the babe.
Now my wife, this guy they drive so.
Your wife?
My wife not there inside. The Kia code is now my wife now. My second wife.
Now what do you they call this new car?
Yes now. Now my wife, she gives me everything when my wife they give me now, and even more. No, they laugh. I need that. And my wife is getting attention.
Oh, now your driver, any car wins. Sorry.
No talk for this matter.
Sorry.
Bucci, come. So, you don't be big man now, Abi. You don't be big man now. Now my wife don't they carry up and down. Hey, keep quiet. I saw you with my own eyes, my naked eyes. I saw you. You entered my wife. Don't allow proof for this matter. They annoy me.
I dey support you now. Why you dey enter Oga wife?
Why they enter my wife?
Oga, I saw something.
Tell me. What talk?
I go talk.
I hear you.
The person waiting they pay me. Madam don't call me tired. Come up and say no. Press my back and say my leg and say what did they pay me? The person with the twat.
Wait, what happened?
Now God prove me. Now they come out. Every time they go send me message, go to ShopRite, and then they go, and they wash them when you don't travel. Now God prove me, then they come.
Wait.
Now God guy they talk of, he's talking of the car. When they say wife.
Wait. I was talking about my Kia Coris.
When you say wife, you know so God just buy this car. You
wait. Broommen they come my house when I travel.
Okay.
Wait first. But I've been talk about my Kia Coris here just now. How broommen use enter?
They carry them for the car. Sometimes when you travel, when you motor, I don't. Okay, my carry the things go up.
Wait, I want to understand one thing. You dey come my house when I travel? Oh no. You dey come my house, come meet my wife. I was talking about my Kia Coris. This man dey talk about my wife. How come? No. Talk. You dey come my house when I know they are come meet my wife? Broommen, I dey talk to you. You dey come my house.
Okay, so that's really an interesting one from Basketmouth and Bobby. Of course, this isn't the first time a celebrity will be coming out, to talk about how call out the airports in Nigeria about stealing, theft of their properties. Remember last year, December, Tiwa Savage came out to say, yes, my luggage got stolen at Lagos Airport, and now Basketmouth is complaining of the same thing. So I think NACO should, take a look at this issue and rectify it before it goes out of hand. Now, Basketmouth isn't the only one doing some calling out on social media, as OK Bakassi has a message for busybodies. His message is for all those who tend to drop unnecessary comments on social media. The veteran comedian made his frustrations known on his Instagram page yesterday, where he posted a video. According to him, it is really unwarranted for anyone to make comments on social media, especially if they have no knowledge of the topic. Let's take a look at the video.
It has become very clear to me why people fail exams. Is it not common sense that if you don't understand anything or you don't understand something, you ask somebody who knows? Even in African culture, those days, when things are too confusing for them, they even consult oracles to even find the answer. So why rush to click the reply button on somebody's post on social media when you don't understand the points? I don't understand it. You reply and you just talk nonsense, off point. Something when no concern within the post, you just go and reply. If you read post and just move on, anything will happen to you. I don't even understand it. Make people just borrow themselves sense. What do you know understand? Ask questions.
Okay, so this is actually really funny. And then tell you, this video, this table that OK Bakassi is shaking, has lots and lots of people on it. Yes, that's because, this is not the first time celebrities are coming out to talk about what